Get it together.
Never.
Hola, buenos días.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
This is Barb.
This is Estela.
And welcome to
Cafecito
and Crime. So,
say it. Talk about how somebody stole your donuts.
Somebody stole my fucking donuts, bitch. I'm never going to get over it. So I started a new job. So I'm in the positive sunshine committee, a fun committee or whatever. I wonder why. Like I'm not that positive.
Happy. There you are.
But anyway, so I started the sunshine fun committee or whatever. And so then I was like, hey, it's Friday.
The reason why we're bringing this up is because we've literally talked about this all morning. And she's so upset que alguien le robó las pinches donas.
Alguien me robó mis pinches donas, which somebody fucking did it. So anyway, so then I buy my fucking donuts. They're from Voodoo Donuts. I'm pretty sure there's Voodoo Donuts. Like, I think they're from like New Orleans or something. I don't know where the fuck, but there's only 2 locations here in Houston. So then I'm like, you know what? That's cute. I've never had them. Let me try them, you know? I'm not a big donut fan.
Yeah.
I've never been Estela knows. She's like, you don't drink donuts. And I'm like, I know that, but I've been trying.
You don't drink donuts?
I mean, I don't need donuts, but I've been trying to be open-minded to the donut game, you know, because apparently I've been missing out.
Yeah.
So
I love donuts.
I get there and I ordered them on the fucking DoorDash. So they have the coolest thing ever. They have the coolest. They have a box que se llama 713.
Like it's Houston's area code.
Well, yeah, if you
one of them, pues. It's the main one.
So then 713, so that kind of me llamó la atención because it cost $7.13. So I was like, cool, I'll order that and then I'll order a few more because there wasn't a lot of us on that day to work yesterday. Girl, tell me why I didn't get a chance to eat them because we were really busy, started seeing people and stuff like that. Bro, I'm like waiting for me to go home so that I can me las voy a marranear en la pinche truck on the way home, you know?
Yeah.
Bitch, when I get out there, no había nada. Everybody was gone and I was trying to input some stuff in my computer. So me fui un poco después que todos se fueron. Usually there's either 1 or 2 girls still there or whatever.
Especially on a Friday, you know.
So I was trying to get out of there quickly, pero I kept fucking up and putting the wrong fucking information. So then I'm like, fuck. So I tried, I'm like, let me go grab my donuts. So no me agarré mi bolsa y todo. I'm like, because we have like a place where we have our meetings. So they were in there.
Oh, okay. They weren't like in the break room or in the break room or anything.
So because our break room is really small and the table's so chiquito, so it's too small in there. So I put them in there. And so then finally I'm going over the bitch. I even looked in the trash. Like I was like.
Because Barbie was like, it was 2 boxes.
It was 2 boxes because not only did I get the 713 box, I also got extras in case somebody didn't like the specialty ones. I was like trying to be nice or whatever.
But I feel like there's always people like that at jobs because I know también que in my company, and it's happened before, pero like everybody kind of brings their own creamer.
Yeah.
Like kind of their own creamer.
Yeah. My sister Vanessa always talks about how people take her fucking creamer and shit.
And then she was like, me acaban mi creamer. She's like, I'll bring it one day y en ese día se acaba. And then she had to start pouring it in a different container and then putting it in her lunchbox.
No.
So then people won't steal her fucking creamer. I'm like, dude. And she even writes her name on it and everything. I'm like, damn, bro.
Like, I understand if you, like I said earlier, hey, I'm leaving. Do you think I can have a donut or are you going to take the donut? Yeah, I'm the biggest one of sharing is caring. You know, I promise you. But the thing is like, bro, I didn't even try the fucking donuts because that's how busy we were. That person, whoever was, knew we were busy because they work with me. And then the next thing you know, you just take all of them. Like you didn't even, and I had already told my kids, hey, I'm going to bring donuts home and they were all fucking waiting for them.
Yeah.
Y luego, I think that's what hurt me the most because I don't ever promise shit if I'm not going to do it to them. But I was like, bitch.
The donut. And it's not, it's the principle of the thing. I mean, they could have just asked you, be like, hey, are you going to take the donuts? Can I have one of the boxes? Do you mind? And Barbie would have been like, yeah, that's fine. So, I mean. And
so then this morning, I can't have Voodoo Donuts because I live on the other side of fucking town. Because the Voodoo Donuts are in the more of the medical center area-ish. And I don't live in that area. So then my husband's like, what kind of donuts do you want? I'm like, give me the fucking ones from down the street.
Yeah.
All mad and shit. Ya que pinches.
Are they not going to be Voodoo?
I hope that Voodoo Donuts are really good because next time I'm going to buy one fucking, I swear.
Just one for yourself.
Bitch, I swear I'm buying one fucking donut. One. And I'm not like that. You know I'm not like that.
No, but if people are not going to appreciate it or just be dicks
and
about
what
it,
I do is I bought my own coffee. Because their coffee tasted like 10 dicks. 10 dicks.
10.
All of them
like
at the
Tin
same
Man.
time.
The Tin Man stick.
Yeah, no, straight up. It tasted disgusting, which I'm a really bad, as y'all know, and you've been listening to us if you have, we're very we like coffee. So, I mean, I be chasing coffee from everywhere. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's not. So if you're going to give me coffee, you better give me some bomb-ass coffee.
Or you'll be able to tell if it's not good
enough. So. They made me this coffee, sabía pinche verga. I'm like, hell no, I'm not taking it. So I bring my own coffee. I bring my own creamer. I don't put sugar in my coffee, so I don't need sugar, but they have sugar, whatever. And it's a newer company, a newer clinic, so they don't have a lot of stuff. I get that. But don't touch my shit. Like, you can have some, but no te la acabes, güey. Like you said, the creamer de tu coworker. Like, pour some y déjala ahí. No acábate toda la pinche botella and shit.
Yeah. Like, pregunta and be like, hey, can I have some?
I'm pretty sure that happens a lot.
Everywhere, I'm sure.
I'm sure. And it's like, and then there's some people que son más descaradas que otras, you know. So.
They lie to your face.
But anyway, so today's case is going to be brought to you by the letter E.
Me.
So what we got today?
So today we'll be discussing the case of Orville Lynn Majors, who became known as Indiana's Angel of Death for killing patients at the hospital he worked at as a nurse.
Not the Angel of Death.
In the early mid-1990s.
Oh, wow. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab your cafecitos and let's get started.
So for today's episode, we are going to the state of Indiana. Clinton, Indiana, to be exact. And the fun, random, interesting fact about Clinton is that it hosts the Little Italy Festival every year during Labor Day weekend, which brings over 75,000 attendees. It lasts 4 days, and they have food vendors and music and a wine garden, bitch.
Oh, wait, what?
Just to name a few kind of things. They also have, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, it's Italian, so probably not. Bagna Cauda.
No, that doesn't sound right, but go ahead. What is it?
It's a cook-off. They have a cook-off about bagna cauda, I'm so sorry, which is like a dipping sauce for vegetables that often appears in many Italian homes as part of a Christmas Eve, like the dinner.
Oh, okay.
And they also have a spaghetti eating contest.
Bruh.
And so it just Italian shit everywhere.
Well, that
food.
just sounds so amazing.
Like, I want to go.
Dude, me too.
And I'm sure your son wants to go too.
Well, if they have pizza.
Your daughter.
If they have pizza.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
But not like pepperoni pizza, like margarita pizza.
Yeah,
stuff.
so he would be mad about that. But anyway, a whole garden. Let's go back to the whole garden of
wine.
Fucking wine. Like a whole ass garden.
Wine garden. And it's a Little Italy festival because there were a lot of Italians that settled there in the 18 and 1900s. So they just stayed there.
Think of that. You know, like,
yeah,
that's crazy, but cool. All right. Thank you for the interesting fact, my sister.
You're welcome. So Orville Lynn Majors was born.
Her name is Orville.
Him.
His name is Orville, like the fucking popcorn?
Yeah. Wait, hold on. April 24th.
No! He's a Taurus.
He's Barbie. He shares Barbie's birthday.
Yeah, we're birthday buddies. Pinche viejo andaba matando gente.
In 1961. In either Linton, Indiana or Greenville, Kentucky.
How is that?
Sources are split like right down the middle. A lot of them say Linton. A lot of them say Greenville, Kentucky. So, quién sabe? I don't know. Not that it really matters, right?
He's a Taurus.
Yeah, your birthday twin.
My birthday twin.
He was born to parents Annabelle and Orville Majors. So he's a junior.
Yeah, I think that's the name of the fucking popcorn.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
Yeah.
El que está como con rojo y tiene el hombre así parado?
Yeah, supéralo. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I got over it.
And he had an older sister named Debbie.
Yes, Debbie. Bien pinche.
Why'd you say it like that?
I don't know. Pero, ¿sabes qué? You know, when my mom was telling me when she was trying to pick a name for me, she was going to name me Deborah.
Deborah, yeah.
So I would have been like, Debbie.
So there isn't much known about his early life. As a teenager, he attended Linton Stockton High School and also began helping to take care of his elderly grandmother because she had like a lot of health problems and stuff. And she ended up passing away, but that experience pushed him to go into nursing.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds like me.
Yeah, ya valió verga.
Ya valió verga.
He should have not gone into nursing.
But I didn't kill anybody. And I'm not a nurse, so there we go. Clarify. Was that your stomach or your throat?
My throat.
Dude, we need to Google why do we make throat fucking noises, bitch.
Now, Orville Lynn worked at Vermillion County Hospital in Clinton, Indiana.
Okay.
As a nurse aide, primero, nurse's aide. So now Clinton is a small town, and in the early 1990s, the population was just under 5,000 people.
What?
So it's super small, so small, and I think it's even like that now. So the fact that they bring in over 75,000 people for the Little Italy Festival is like big, you know?
Yeah, they bring almost double their population.
Double?
Or, yeah. You said there's 5,000 people and they bring 7,500.
75,000.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought you meant 75. What the hell? Okay, well, anyway, they bring a lot of people in.
Yeah, for sure. So it was like a really small, close-knit community, like where everybody knew each other, like nadie la que abra las puertas, you know, stuff like that. Now, when Orville se fue de allí, a do not rehire order was placed in his file.
Holy shit, that never happened.
Due to poor attendance.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
He left, it's Vermillion County Hospital, so I'm just going to refer to it as VCH, which reminded me of VHS. He left VCH and went on to attend and graduate from Nashville Memorial School of Practical Nursing in 1989, and where he received his certificate as an LPN, a licensed practical nurse. LPNs provide more of a basic care for a patient, like changing bandages and inserting catheters, like very hands-on, like giving them like baths and stuff. They are not supposed to administer medications or treatments.
Like a CNA, kind of like a certified nurse's assistant, but it was called differently. Okay,
LPNs,
I get it.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Like I said, they're
not supposed to.
Yeah, that's the RN's job.
Only
like that's
an RN. Yeah, no. Uh-huh.
So he returned to Indiana in 1993 and was rehired as an LPN at VCH.
They hired him even though he was a no hire?
Even though his file had been marked do not rehire.
Yes,
but es que it turns out that the woman that had originally placed that note on his file, she had left. And the lady that took over her position, she was just so burned out and they needed staff that she rehired Orville.
I mean, dude, but why would you reapply? Like, I know if I'm not going to be...
But he didn't know that order was placed on his file.
I get it.
And I mean, maybe she thought that, okay, he just had poor attendance. How bad could it be? You know,
yeah, maybe he didn't kill anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
He didn't kill anybody.
So he started working there again as an LPN. So overall, he was praised by his patients for being a great nurse. Like everybody really liked him. Before his original departure of VCH, he was described by staff as super friendly and would always help anybody out.
That's just us Tauruses, you know, that's how we roll.
And he was very popular. Like patients liked them. And they take your donuts. And they described him as very caring and very, very knowledgeable. Like he knew his shit.
Yeah, he's smart.
After his return in March 1993, his personality and demeanor changed from when he started there first.
Okay.
He seemed to be much more irritable and...
So how old is he about 93? So he was born in what?
61.
So, yeah, he was
in his 30s.
In his 30s?
Like 30.
Well, it's because that's when we get mad at the world when you turn in your 30s, bro.
Like, he was also on drugs, but...
Oh, okay, we'll get there. Okay. Sorry about that.
On one occasion, a nurse said that she saw him punch a locker because he was angry over having been moved from the ICU to the ER for a shift.
Let's take a quick break. Persons of Interest is back, and it's bigger than ever.
That scream will echo in my head for many years.
Taser! 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 He's gonna shoot!
Oi! Shot fired! Shots fired! Shots fired!
Stay out! You got a gun on you!
He had the perfect aim.
I am absolutely stressed at that point. I have no idea where my officers are.
Persons of Interest available everywhere you get your podcasts.
That it's because I'm not trying to be funny, but like knowing Grey's Anatomy, I think that between an ICU nurse and an ER nurse, there's so much of a difference of chaos. So I'm not trying to be. I'm just saying maybe that's why he got upset. I don't know. I'm just saying, giving him the benefit of the doubt.
But he's an LPN, so it's not like he's actually treating.
True.
You know.
True. Mm-hmm.
That's me. I don't know. I don't know anything medical. I don't know.
No, but whenever you're like the assistant of the nurse, I mean, I've heard, I don't know because I've never been a nurse's assistant, but I've heard that their job is really hardcore because it's like the nurse gets the orders from the doctor and then the doctor tells the nurse what to do, but the nurse doesn't do it. She just makes the assistant do it.
LPN.
That's what I've heard. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a nurse assistant, but I've heard that they do have they do a lot. Like if somebody vomits,
they do. They do all that stuff.
Yeah. So they do like a lot of cleaning and stuff. So if they're busy, they might get moved around a lot. I'm just saying.
So his appearance was also like unkempt and sloppy. Like, ya no se planchaba.
Pues yo tampoco plancho. Ay, pero.
We are so alike.
We are so alike.
And to cover that up, se ponía the white doctor's coat. Like he would put it on top of his crusty scrubs.
No, ma'am. No.
And patients que lo miraban around the hospital, you know, which he was popular with, some of them believed that he was a doctor.
No.
Especially because the way he carried himself, like I said, he was very knowledgeable. Y se creía el muy muy. And they said that he walked with so much authority.
Oh, can't relate.
Yeah.
Can't relate.
You're not a murderer. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God, don't say that.
Now, it started slowly, but some nurses started to notice that something just wasn't right. Marilyn Alexander, an ICU nurse, would later tell investigators that she noticed the increase in death rates in October of 1993.
What the fuck?
And she took it upon herself to start tracking them and marking them in her calendar, but stopped sometime in 1994 when there was a shift change, and she stopped working with Orville Lynn. Like, so either his or her shift changed, and
that's when she noticed that
she stopped tracking it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then in October of 1994, another nurse, Debbie Solers, I think it's how you say her last name, also later tells investigators que she went up to the director of nursing at the time, Judy Howard, y les dijo que she had been noticing, you know, that all these code blues, you know, y que and that a lot of
blue, ya te crees un pinche Meredith.
That's what they say. And a lot of the elderly patients were dying in the ICU. So, you know, code blue is when somebody becomes unresponsive and they have to perform, you know, resuscitating measures. The director of nursing kind of like dismissed her worries. You're like, no, there's no way, you know, no. So Sharon Calvert, also a nurse in the ICU, approached a doctor at the hospital, Dr. Elias, and pretty much she was like, dude, am I a bad nurse? Why are all these people dying? Like, she was questioning her own abilities.
It was herself.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But nothing came of that either, you know, but they didn't do.
I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, I know that the fact that exactly what can you do? Because at that moment, I guess you don't want to think bad things.
But what were you thinking?
I know,
like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, ¿qué vas a pensar? No, este pinche güey anda
your first thought
todos.
is not that one of your coworkers is fucking killing people.
Like, never.
You know?
That's
like,
what I'm
no.
saying. Like, I mean, thank God that we don't have that first thought, because in our world would be even worse than what it is. But what I'm saying is, like, that's not what you think. Like, oh, este güey anda matando gente. Like,
no.
You don't think that.
Now, in March of 1995, the supervisor of nursing, Dawn Stirek, I believe is how you say her last name, took it upon herself to start digging into all of the deaths at VCH.
Finally, somebody.
There was so much talk about them on all the like hospital floors. Like, it was, and rumors were flying around, and it was all anybody could fucking talk about, how many people were fucking dying.
Damn.
But nobody would do anything about it. They would just talk about it, and that's it.
Because, you know, a lot of people have the mentality of, I just work here.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like, literally, there was a day when 3 patients out of the 4 in the ICU died within a single lunch hour.
Stop!
And it became known as the, quote unquote, the lunchtime massacre. All of it, like, literally, I think everything just started maybe hitting her. And she said que it would keep her up at night.
Wow.
And so she started to dig and found out that most of the deaths were occurring in the ICU. So the hospital, I'm not sure if I bring this up later. This is a small community hospital. There's only 56 beds or 55, and the ICU only has 4 beds.
Okay, so it's not like we're talking like huge ass beds.
No. It's a small community hospital.
Got it. Okay. So if 4 people out of 5 die, that's like everybody in your fucking ICU or whatever it is, you know?
Yeah, like 75% of the people. There's only 4 beds and 3 people died, you know.
3
like,
people are dying.
So at first she thought that maybe it was a communication problem, right? When one nurse's shift ended, there wasn't maybe proper communication or documentation reading in the patient's chart or about the patient's condition. And the nurse coming in, taking over that shift, didn't have the correct information to treat that patient. Mm-hmm. But as she kept digging, she was like, no, everything seems, you know, everything's marked here. Everything's good. It can't be that there isn't good communication between the nurses.
It was just too much of a coincidence every time that it was happening. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So she decided to go back. She says that she doesn't know why, but she says that she decided to go back 2 years into unit log records. Because remember, everything they used to write down everything, not like nowadays, que todo was like on a tablet and stuff. Everything back then.
Literally everything you
written
do.
down.
You breathe, it's on a damn computer.
Yeah. So, like I said, she went back 2 years in unit log records and made notes on patients that died, what time, what RNs and LPNs were on duty. She conducted a whole ass study, like legit. She broke down statistics by months and or patient. And she calculated the number of hours a nurse worked and put it against the number of code blues that resulted in death for that same period.
Wow. Like she did a whole fucking spreadsheet and shit.
Girl, more than a spreadsheet.
Really?
Because this was after when everything goes to the investigators, like they really work off her everything that she found, like all her fucking
pretty
research.
Much they were like, this is what...
She pretty much, started the investigation for us. Not only did she find that from March 1993 to March 1995, there had been 149 deaths, but that there was one nurse that was present for 130 of them. Orville Lynn Majors. Dawn took this information to the director of nursing, again, como la otra que le fue a decir a la director of nursing y que le dijo que no pasa nada. Pues esta Dawn took all her findings and showed her again, Judy Howard, and they looked over it together. And like she couldn't deny it then, like that. Something wasn't wrong.
Something's obviously not, if it maybe not even that fact that he's killing people, but at least
something was happening in the hospital. Yeah. From July to December of 1994, which would be referred to as the epidemic period.
No mames.
67 patients died when the average, based on previous years, should have been 12.
Wow. 67.
And to break it down a little bit more, out of those 67 deaths, Orville Lynn Majors was present for 63 of them.
Oh my God. Like, ¿qué más quieres? What the fuck?
So Judy took this information to John Ling, the hospital administrator. After he looked over everything, John then contacted the hospital's attorneys, Joe Beardsley. Joe advised John.
Advised? Joe advised? What did they advise about?
To contact police right away. But to try and keep this as quiet as possible for as long as possible. Because it's bad publicity.
Not only the publicity, but we're talking about people that are coming into your actual hospital or clinic thinking that they're going to get
killed,
or no, well, I mean, they think they're going to get serviced or, treatment y luego que pase esto. That's like that's a big no-no.
And he also advised him to suspend Orville Lynn Majors. Remember, because an actual investigation hasn't even started. You just can't, be telling people
you can't fire him. Like you can't, because he was going to be like, hey, they fired me.
So 2 days later after that, John Ling and Joe Beardsley called Orville Lynn into the administrator's office and suspended him from the hospital. He was an employee of Will, so he could be pretty much let go, and they didn't really have to tell him why or give him an explanation.
That makes sense. Okay.
And do you know what he said when they told him he was being suspended?
What?
Is this about the debts?
No, pendejo. No, it's not about the debts. It's because you stink.
Porque no te planchas el scrub.
Porque no te planchas el scrub y te pones chamarras que no son tuyas. Like, what the fuck? No, it's not about that.
So obviously they didn't answer him, and he was.
They didn't have to.
Yeah, they didn't have to. Hell no, especially not about this.
Especially, I would just be like, I'm putting this camera on real quick so we can make sure we get this in camera
or audio. Because remember, it was 1990s, 1990s.
Yeah.
So about a week.
VHS.
So about a week after he was gone, had been a week since he's been dismissed. Not one code blue bitch. Not one.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think he had something to do with them.
You think?
I think.
You think?
I have my thoughts.
You have your thoughts?
Yeah.
Now, John Ling, remember, he's the hospital's administrator, and Joe Beardsley had been in contact with the Clinton Police Chief Jerry Statler, the Vermillion County prosecutor Mark Greenwell, and his deputy Nina Alexander. Jerry Statler then contacted the Indiana State Police because they were going to need all the fucking help they could get. Because you're looking, if this turned out to be what they thought, you're looking at a serial killer at a hospital, And like I said, there's such a small task force that you don't have all the resources that you might need to hit an investigation this big.
Especially if it's a small town.
Yeah, small counties.
County, like you imagine they're going to need a lot, because I'm guessing, I don't know how it works because I'm not a cop, thank God. Pero I'm guessing that
we talked about this.
Yeah, we talked about this. Pero I'm guessing that they have to do these people are going to cover this case and these people are going to cover, because you have to kind of focus on that one case. So
or maybe they don't even know where to start. How do you start with something like this?
So me imagino que you have to have a lot of people para poder empezar si son 67 cases or however many there were. Let's just say 67, whatever. I don't remember. But anyway, what I'm saying is van a tener que tener a lot of people.
A lot of resources.
A lot of resources, yeah.
They realized it was going to be an uphill battle. I mean, pretty much. Yeah, and Orville, they did know that, they had some statistic that he had been present for a lot of the deaths. But how could it be proved that it was actually murder?
Yeah.
And then how did he do it?
Well,
one thing at a time, right? He had to figure out one thing at a time. Yeah. So the majority of the patients were elderly with various illnesses. They gathered that they would need patient records, of course. But when investigators reached out to the hospital administrator for medical files, they were met with some resistance.
What? Why?
The hospital administrator and the lawyer were not looking out for their own interest, right? Because that's the administrator, that's their job to,
make sure nobody dies?
No, they're watching for the interest of the hospital.
Pues sí, güey, pero
But he's an administrator. He's not a doctor. He's not a doctor.
He doesn't know anything about, yeah, that's true. Okay.
They knew that when this got out, it was going to be bad. And for reasons, fucking people are dying. That's why it's bad, There were going to be lawsuits. People could lose their jobs and the hospital could be shut down, pretty much. So maybe they were just trying to buy time to kind of figure something out. I don't know, to get PR people involved. I don't know, but,
I don't know how that administrative work, yeah.
Even then, the police couldn't just go to the hospital and be like, hey, give me patient records. There's no way, that's HIPAA violation.
Yeah.
So they had to go through the courts and they were able to subpoena
kind of like a
patient records.
¿Cómo se llama cuando they do a warrant? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They were to subpoena patient records. And that was, obviously they were going to need the records anyway, but it was kind of like a win because everything that they were going to need was going to be on the patient records because it had information.
It could tell you what exactly they did leading to the death.
And even up until they died, which is what you needed.
Yeah, like a log or whatever.
Yeah, literally a log. So they brought in, which they needed, medical experts to come and help and look at the fucking records because they didn't know what the fuck they were looking at, Medical terminology is very hard.
No shit.
I can't even say fucking medicine names.
Yeah.
As that was going on, they were getting their stuff together. An anonymous letter was sent to the FBI and the media about everything that was going on.
This at the same time. All of this is happening, but just all of a sudden they send a letter to the FBI.
Yeah, because before then they had managed to keep it quiet because they didn't have anything yet. They were just suspicious, right?
Okay.
They knew it had to be somebody that worked at the hospital because who else would know?
Yeah.
But it was then that when all that shit hit the news that the Orville was then dubbed the Angel of Death.
Okay, hold on, rewind. So somebody from the actual hospital sends the FBI a letter and then the FBI makes that public?
No, the FBI and the media. He sent it to the FBI and the media.
This person who sent it
anonymous
to
letter.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then that's how the media got it, and then the media dubbed him. Okay, I get it.
Yes.
Okay, I thought it meant only to the FBI, and the FBI released it. Okay, I get it. Okay.
So this brought in the ISDH, which is the Indiana State Department of Health, to the hospital, to VCH. They were there to lead a survey since there had been a complaint that the hospital was not in compliance with policies, procedures, rules, and regulations as established by the ISDH. The team that went in consisted of 5 team members, and they conducted interviews that looked into logs, charts, records, and administrative documents. And in the end, they found many violations, but it wasn't just that they found the violations. It's just the severity of those violations.
Yeah.
One of them was the negligence of doctors who were part of the Health and Care and Death Review Committee.
What? Is that a thing?
I guess yeah.
Okay.
Their responsibility was to meet at least once a month to determine if patients received care that was up to the hospital standards.
Okay.
But the doctors, hardly fucking ever showed up. That needed to be at least once a month. But, hold on. Agárrate los calzones. ¿Por qué?
No, estos calzonzotes que traigo el tamaño de mis sheets.
They were also supposed to meet to review patients' deaths for the previous month and determine if the cause of death that was noting on the file was appropriate.
Okay.
Mainly, the committee's purpose was to ensure that consistent patient reviews would catch any unusual spike in the number of deaths over the previous month to kind of catch if there was like an epidemic or something going on that was killing people.
Which is what
they're supposed to.
They're supposed to. Like, that's their fucking job. Like, what the hell? Okay.
There was a stretch of time when the committee never met.
Oh.
It was a 9-month period.
Oh wow! No,
In
committee they were out there. The committee was out there
in 1994, which coincided with all the deaths that happened in the later part of that year. You know, the epidemic period from July to December.
Yeah.
So yeah, bitch, lawsuits were definitely on their way.
Oh my God! And is this made public or no?
We'll get there. So that was one violation that they found. Another finding showed that the hospital would hire LPNs over RNs to cut costs and would have LPNs do the fucking jobs of the RNs.
I told you. I knew it because that happens a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, that doesn't mean that state mandated they cannot be giving medication.
Right.
So,
but they were.
If they were, then that's so no.
Like, exactly. Like the assessments and giving patients specific medications.
Shit.
Specifically, they learned that Orville Lynn Majors was left unsupervised in the ICU with patients when an RN was required to always be there too. An RN was always supposed to be present if there was an LPN. An LPN can never be left alone with the patient in the
standard.
ICU.
Well, that's standard still until now, but still.
I mean,
crazy.
It was then too, but
it was done. Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Now, at this point, the news about Orville is out there. You know, the media, it's all over it. FBI knows. The town knows.
No, not the town.
And he denied everything.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. And the town of Clinton was divided because people that knew him were like, dude, there's no way. Everybody, like I said,
they brought his name out.
Yeah.
Orville.
Yeah.
Okay. Popcorn. Okay.
You could just call him popcorn.
Yeah, bro. I can't get over it. I just see the red box.
There are a lot of people, like I said, people that knew him were like, dude, pues no es su culpa que he was just present cuando esta gente se estaba muriendo. I mean, they were old.
I mean, think about it. It doesn't make sense that it wasn't his fault that there was a lot of judgments in the actual hospital, and that's probably why he was upset. But that doesn't mean.
But I don't think the people of the town had the numbers.
No, not only the people of the town didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. You know, it's like you don't know the actual facts
because they knew him as a person, you know,
yeah,
so you're never, gonna think
us Tauruses, that's how we roll. We're good people.
Now, all of the media coverage caught the attention of Indianapolis attorney Marshall Pincus.
Not Marshall Pinkish.
Marshall Pincus. He reached out to Orville Lynn and stated that he would like to represent him for the time being, because I remember there had been no charges brought against him. I
wonder how that works though, because side note, sorry, but I was wondering, how is it that I'm an attorney? Like, for example, the guy the person that's going to represent the guy from the 6 murders in Idaho, like, how do you fucking think, oh, I'm gonna go represent this guy? Like, even though money, yes. But what I'm saying is a lot of the times that the people that they represent, they don't have money like that. You see what I'm saying?
But they do it for the exposure. It's a high profile case.
Well, yeah, but I mean, dude, like I don't know. I just couldn't, my heart could not deal. Like, okay, well, did you kill these people? Yeah, I did. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, I don't understand.
Yeah, I know.
Like this guy, like, okay, yes, you say this is before he knew everything, but this lawyer is like, hey, vamos a representarte. I'm going to be on your side. Like, how? You have to believe that this guy is innocent for you to be able to prove that he's innocent.
Well, that's why. But if you believe that he's innocent.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just couldn't. Thank God I'm not another one. A lawyer. Thank God I'm not a lawyer.
A criminal
defense attorney.
So, like I said, Marshall Pincus reached out to Orville Lynn and stated that he would like to represent him for the time being. He had previously handled some matters for Orville's parents, so lo conocía.
Okay.
Lo conocía, and he was
personally, okay.
Yeah. He was like, I won't charge you a lot.
That's what I'm saying.
Le dijo, I won't charge you a lot. Which, I mean, Orville couldn't fucking turn it down because el güey no tenía tanto dinero tampoco. He wasn't swimming in money.
Or not LVNs, but LPNs. Pinche madre con todas los pinches letras. They don't make a lot of money.
Yeah, especially in the fucking mid-1990s.
Not only that, but
in a small-ass
community. Yeah, yeah.
But Orville had 2 arts and crafts stores that he también managed outside of.
So he had another job.
Yeah, he was the owner.
He was hurting. Look at me. Yeah. That's literally, he's Barbie, like my twins.
It's arts and crafts.
Arts and crafts. Dude, I am the arts and crafts queen.
She has a whole closet.
A whole closet just for my arts and crafts.
And like we were just literally talking about, Marshall was honestly taking on Orville as a client for the exposure it was going to give him. That's it. That's why he did it.
Yeah.
So in May of 1995, 2 months after Orville's suspicion suspension from VCH. From VCH, the State Board of Nursing held a public hearing that would determine if he should keep his nursing license. There were witnesses.
Is that even a fucking question?
Yeah, I mean, you have to do it the right way. Again, there's no charges yet.
I know.
The investigation just started.
This is why
you want to jump to like...
I want to be like, bitch, you're going to jail. And right it's like, there, no, we don't have evidence. No, bitch, you're going to jail.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but not on my watch.
The State Board of Nursing held a public hearing that would determine if he should keep his nursing license. There were witnesses present, like anybody could come and, be asked questions by the committee. So there were witnesses present that were asked questions by the board. They also had the findings of the ISDH and some of the actual findings from the investigation that the police had already started.
I see. Okay.
So they had information already that they knew about. So the witnesses were nurses. Like they came to the state board meeting and they're like, ask us questions. We need to talk about this.
They probably had been holding it together for so long, especially if the director had been saying, "Hey, be quiet. It's nothing." So they were probably like, "Hey, I need to say," because they think it was them. They're like,
they were questioning their own abilities.
Yeah, true.
And the nurses were people that had worked closely with Orville Lynn and that noticed instances where Orville was left with a patient that was fine, and then out of nowhere they died. Those included the patients during the lunchtime massacre, which one of the nurses brought up that day. Mm-hmm. She stated that she ran back to the ICU after just leaving her patient for like 3 minutes, and the patient was stable and good. And then when she got back to the ICU, Orville Lynn told her that he had given the patient an IV morphine and a Dorvacet N, even though the RN on duty had not signed off on that, which they're supposed to sign off on it and everything. Not only that, but that specific patient had not received any morphine injection during the whole stay there. And then out of nowhere, he's like, I had to give him a morphine injection. Like, that doesn't make sense. Or the patient hadn't been receiving any type of pain control medication. So why now? After hearing many nurses and hospital staff testimonies, the state board terminated Orville Lynn's license.
I'm telling you, he needs to go to jail. Nadie me hace caso.
Now, the medical team started to dive into the files of every person that died while Orville Lynn was present during his time at VCH, which was from March of 1993 to March of 1995. So, I'm sorry, I think it was 22 months. So, a little bit under.
Yeah.
They reviewed 165 patient charts over the 22-month period that Orville was employed. Out of those 165, 147 patients died in the ICU.
Wow.
Something that they noticed was that some of the patients died unexpectedly.
Okay. Like, I want to hear how he did. Like, I can't wait for you to tell me how he was doing it, because I don't know. In my mind, I'm still thinking, okay, did he give him medications? Yes. But what was it? In my medical mind, I'm like, okay, what did he do to kill them? Like, I'm
especially
waiting.
Especially if they were fine, right?
Yeah, if they were fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Before those patients died, they were fine and stable and were about to be discharged.
Wow.
For the most part, and the next thing you know, they died.
Bro.
Those patients' charts showed a widening of the QRS complex on an EKG, which was indicative of some sort of like a hypertension or something like that.
Or their heart either was stopped or it was being messed with.
Yeah. And those same patients' charts, even though their QRSs were showing widenings, those patient charts didn't have any previous history of high blood pressure or anything that could even make their QRS widen. Mm-hmm. And now suddenly out of nowhere, they apparently had increase in their high blood pressure and all that shit. Like, how does that happen? Mm-hmm. Medically, explain that medically.
Not only that, but especially because they're in the hospital. So they're on a monitor 24 or whatever the time that they're there. So they're monitoring their blood pressure. Like literally, that te pone la pinche madre aquí. And they're like, they keep doing your blood pressure because they're making sure your blood pressure is not high. That's the point of a blood pressure machine, that they keep on you the whole time, especially if you're in the ICU.
Right.
So
to monitor
for that to happen, that's like, what the fuck? It just makes no sense.
So, 147 people. So 26 out of those 147 also died in the ICU while Orville was around and shit, but did not show the same characteristics as the others. Like the others were fine, and then the next minute they weren't. No, these 26 out of the 147, they had conditions that were progressively getting worse. So those people
Dude,
we're fine.
147 is a lot of people. We don't even have 147 followers on Instagram.
It's a lot of people.
That's like a lot of people.
Yeah. So those 26 people, they died in the ICU. I'm sorry, maybe I said it wrong. But Orville was not working when those 26 people died.
He wasn't in the hospital.
He wasn't in the hospital. He was in the hospital, and those people had progressively getting worse conditions. So, you know, if they died, for whatever reason that they died, it seemed to be okay. Not okay that they died, but, you know, it was because of a disease that they already had.
Okay, so basically that they actually had an explanation of why they were dying.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
A lot of files showed, as I mentioned, spiked heart rates right before death. Investigators brought in an expert in electrophysiology. Dr. Sorry, I'm going to say this wrong. Protowski?
Sure.
To review EKG strips. Like, he had written books and all that stuff, so he knew his shit. He noticed a specific pattern that he had seen many years ago. It was when high potassium was in the human body and what it did to an electrocardiogram. Mm-hmm. Now, there were two other things that could also cause that pattern besides high potassium in the body, and it was a massive heart attack or a massive clot in the lungs. This discovery helped narrow down the patient list a little bit more. So they were still working on those files, trying to narrow down the patient list. And several months into that investigation, Orville Lynn and his lawyer, Michael Pincus, reminds me of Minkus.
It reminds me of Pinky.
Pikachu.
Pikachu.
Not Minkus. So Michael Pincus and Orville Lynn Majors started to fucking make...
I can't do this. Orville Lynn Majors and Michael Pink. This is too much. Their names are too much.
They started to
like Pinky.
To make a TV appearances.
Oh no, pues es que they wanted to be famous.
You wanted to get ahead of the game, remember?
Yes.
You wanted people... they were on talk shows such as Montel.
Not Montel. I remember Montel. He was so adorable. What happened to Montel?
He probably got canceled.
What about Sally?
I don't know who Sally is, bro.
You remember Sally? Sally Di Raphael or whatever it was her name?
I remember Ricky Lake.
Ricky Lake.
Yeah.
Ricky Lake lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
She was cute. Her. Mm-hmm, good for her.
So he was also on the network news show 48 Hours. So that was just to name a few, but he was like on a tour. He was on a tour.
He was, se creía pinche tourist and shit. What the fuck?
He was telling his side of the story. And since some of the information had leaked about what the ISDH survey had found at VCH and their negligence, Orville was being painted as the scapegoat for the hospital and how they failed to provide good medical care to their patients, which ultimately led to their deaths.
Guess what?
Yes.
I just read about Montel. He is actually still out on the TVs. He's on Lifetime. And he does a show that does military makeovers, Operation Career. So I guess when they come out of their military stays or military, what do you call it? Like their time that they're in the military, he helps them get a career.
Cool.
You work, Montel. You get it. He has MS, but he's working on it. But anyway, I like Montel. He's so adorable.
So that was pretty much gonna be Orville's defense and trial too, that he was the scapegoat for the hospital and their shitty procedures that they didn't follow.
I mean, honestly, I really did think that was one of my thoughts, but
because they were being negligent.
Yeah, they were. Honestly. So I mean, I guess it helped them in a way that they were being negligent, and on top of that, it got ahead of the
investigation because again, they were still investigating. There were no charges brought up against him. These were rumors, right?
Yeah.
As Orville was telling his side of the story all over the news, a lot of people were watching, and a lot of tips started coming into the police about people that thought that Orville might have killed their family member.
Not the police.
A lot of them stated that they were present themselves when Orville injected the family member with something, and soon after they died. So there were witnesses.
Shut the fuck up. So then he'd be like, hey, I'm coming in to look at
I'm being your aide or your LPN.
LPN, whatever. I'm going to be giving him medication.
Yeah.
And if he's wearing a fucking doctor's coat because his scrubs are dirty, then los mata. What the fuck? That's crazy, dude.
So do you know what else is injectable?
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Potassium.
No shit.
And it's like, bro, you have the balls to be doing this in front of fucking people.
Like, le valió verga, bro.
He's like, you're gonna... Straight up. No fucks given.
Not one fuck.
Barbie just put a donut hole in her mouth. So all of those tips that came in helped narrow down more the list of patients, right?
Yeah.
Who had whining QRS complex. And
I guess like people started thinking about, hey, that guy was in there whenever my grandma or my grandpa were, or my family member was there.
Yeah.
So imagine standing there when they're about to kill your family member,
imagine learning that after the fact.
Oh my God. I would have been like, let me at him.
For real.
For real.
Let me get my hands. He needs to catch these hands.
He needs to catch the hands immediately. Yeah. Crazy.
So all of the tips that came in helped narrow down the list of patients who had whining QRS complex and also had witnesses present when Orville Lynn Majors injected their family members. So all these patients needed to fit in a specific category and they needed to check all these boxes, right? They needed to have the whitening of the QRS. They needed Orville to be present and that he injected something in them.
Why are you looking up there? Like,
why are you looking at the ceiling?
Yeah, why? You're like, they needed this. And I'm like, what the fuck?
So after getting approval from the families, 17 bodies were exhumed and autopsy to check for any clots in the lungs or any signs of a massive heart attack and run a toxicology report.
Yeah, because they were saying, hey, he was in here. We saw
with our own eyes, he injected something, they died, and then those patients had whining QRSs. Mm-hmm. And this, of course, would take many, many months, of course. Exhuming bodies.
Especially back in the 90s, too? Like, imagine.
Yeah, like running toxicology reports. They needed funds for all this stuff. It just doesn't happen willy-nilly, así de ese ratito.
Yeah.
So, investigators finally managed to question Andy Harris. Who is Andy Harris?
Let me tell you.
He had also been an employee at the hospital at VCH, pero yo no sé qué hacía exactamente at the hospital. I don't know. But he knew Orville very well. They had previously been in a relationship, los dos, and they had lived together. So before their breakup, vivían en una casa that eventually...
Wait, rewind. So he's a part of the LGBTQ plus community?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Before their breakup, they lived in a house that got foreclosed. But before they, could be foreclosed, Andy se fue, and they had broken up. Y Orville se quedó ahí. And Andy was like, I'm pretty
sure. So the house was foreclosed after Andy was already gone out the house? So
he left before.
He was like, okay, peace out. But the house wasn't on foreclosure. It didn't happen until he left.
Afterwards, yeah. Okay, he knew it was coming. And he had to file for bankruptcy. So
they were having money problems, basically.
Well, it was mostly Orville's money problems and Andy was like, bro, my name was on the mortgage, and he was like bleeding me dry because he couldn't, manage his fucking money. So they weren't on speaking terms. They broke up. Y Orville se quedó ahí. He was like, at least that I know of 2 more months after I left. Andy says that later he went to the house and it was cluttered. Like, ya no había nadie, estaba como abandonada. And he went to go grab some things that were still left there. And then after investigators asked him if he ever saw any drug paraphernalia in the house lying around and stuff like that.
Okay. That was weird that they asked that.
Because potassium can be injected, remember?
Pues sí, güey. Pero what I'm saying is, like, I get that. Que sí, it could have been injected. But did he have the potassium at the house? Like, what the fuck? That's what I'm asking. Like, that's weird.
So lying around. And then,
you see what I'm saying?
And then
like,
he said, Andy was like, well, not like cocaine and stuff like that, but...
like weed or something.
And he told him that he saw vials of medication-type drugs at the house.
See, I don't fuck with that.
Quote, like the kind we'd use at the hospital, end quote.
You know what? I'm going to need somebody to... So you have no idea what that is, but you worked at the hospital.
Right.
Okay.
So Andy told investigators that Andy told investigators that Orville hated old people.
Oh my God.
That he would say that they were, quote, useless.
Wow.
And they should be gassed.
Stop it. ¿Qué se cree Hitler? ¿Qué vergas?
Right, motherfucker?
What the fuck?
After Andy's interrogation, like that they spoke to him, the police got a search warrant for the house. And when they made their way inside, bottles of potassium chloride were found laying in the garage on the floor in a box.
Bro, like this. Okay, wait, Estela, rewind. So he had a whole ass like supply of fucking potassium.
No, it was just like a box, and there were like a couple of vials.
I thought you meant like que tenía toda una pinche box.
No. It was just
so se traía la medicina after he would inject it. Oh my God, this fucker.
Yeah, they were just thrown inside the box. It was like 1 or 2. There's pictures of it. I will post them on Instagram. And there was other medical paraphernalia, not just the potassium chloride. There were other shit que se llevaba del hospital.
Wow, that's stealing, dude.
And nearly every item could be traced back to VC8. So it wasn't from anywhere else but from the fucking hospital.
Okay, so this is a time, rewind, I'm so sorry if I'm confused. Pero, so you're telling me que ya se había salido, yes, they had already moved out. His ex went back to the house.
To grab some stuff.
But
he had already left already.
There was no one there, you said.
It was
so
empty.
He just left it there.
Yeah.
This motherfucker. Like, no le valía madre.
No, he didn't care.
He didn't give a
shit.
fuck. Yeah, okay.
You know? So after a 2-year investigation...
2 years?
2 years. Because they needed to dot their I's and cross their T's.
Of course. He would have been jailed.
The prosecution reduced the number of patients that they would charge Orville with to 7. Obviously, they knew that it was way more, at least 10 times more. But they had to charge Orville with what could be proven beyond a reasonable doubt in the courts.
That's true.
And you don't want to overwhelm the jury tampoco, you know, like...
You imagine just being like, okay, there's 100 people, sit down.
Yeah.
You know, like,
get strapped in.
Get strapped in. Here we go.
We'll be here for 2 years.
Okay, this person was killed, this.
Yeah.
And it's like,
you know,
fuck,
like, and that's the way to do it. You think about it.
Because, I mean, what's the maximum that he was going to get? I mean,
life?
Let's say life. I don't know if Indiana has death, but in the state of Texas, we be killing people up in here. But I'm just saying, what I'm saying is, like, they weren't going to do much if they would have got him for 7 up to 100, you know. But unfortunately, like if I was my family member, you
would want,
yeah.
So the 7 victims were all potassium-related deaths. That's the thing; they all needed to fit this checklist. They also had supporting evidence to prove that the death was sudden and unexpected, and that Orville was around prior to and after the death. You know, so all these fit all those boxes. Like I keep saying, those, you know, like all this, it fits. So Orville Lynn Majors was arrested on December 29th of 1997 at his parents' home.
I need to know what he's saying. Like, why?
Oh, he said he wasn't him. So, yeah. And I just felt so bad for his family, like his mom and his dad. Like,
were they older already?
Yeah, they were older. Aww. They were retired. And, you know, they were saying that it just brought a lot of stress on them. They were sick. They weren't very well. Until the end, they were like, that's my son is, so mom was like, he didn't do it.
Pobrecita. But he did.
But he did. I think he did. And his sister también. And he was like, no, like, that's not him. He's like, but yeah, it's sad.
It is sad.
Yeah, for the family.
For the family, yeah.
I mean, for everybody.
Especially the family members that were thinking that they're taking their loved one somewhere that they're going to be taken care of and all of this shit. Y luego pa que venga este güey and just inject them. In your fucking face, bitch. Like, por lo menos déjame algo, güey. Like, fuck. Like, in your face.
And
just be like, oh, here we go.
That's the thing. Like, you go to the hospital and you're expected to que te cuide. You know, you feel like caca.
Yeah.
And then here comes this fuckface and it just fucking kills you in front of your fucking family.
In front of, like, okay, hi, yeah, we're going to go ahead and inject. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's mind-blowing to me.
Like, do you... we were just talking about somebody that we know going to the hospital, right? So I'm like, oh my gosh, you went to the hospital and we're just about to talk about this. I'm like, that's scary.
That is so scary. But at the same time, it does happen a lot.
Because he's not the only one.
Yeah,
he's not the only angel of death, you know?
Not only that, but also a lot of people, unfortunately, after COVID... the medical community was really overworked. The nurses were really...
There were a shortage of nurses.
There was shortage and all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, I can just imagine tired, sleepy, overworked. Pero este güey se la mamó.
He didn't give a fuck.
Like, he didn't care.
No.
Oh, my gosh.
So, he left willingly, así todo campante, and as he was being led to the police, because there are already news cameras outside.
Because he thought he was going to get away with it, I think. Because he was on Montel, por eso, güey.
Yeah. As he was being led to the police vehicle, he was asked if he was innocent by news cameras that were around and stuff. He was like, yeah. He maintained his innocence. He said that he didn't do it. He pled not guilty.
My stomach hurts right now because I want to whoop his ass. I don't even know Orville.
He had a mullet.
Bruh.
He had a mullet. And then he
not
had...
the Tiger King.
He had the mullet and then Rick James curls.
Not Rick James! Oh, I need to see this motherfucker.
And sideburns and stuff.
Not the sideburns. Motherfucker.
Yeah. He pleaded not guilty and was held without bail until trial. Now, the trial began sometime in 1999, and there were a total of 79 witnesses that testified, which included family members, medical experts for the prosecution and the defense. And, you know...
How do you spell his name? Orville?
Lynn, Lynn.
Lynn.
Majors. Like the major leagues.
I see him. He doesn't look like he's my birthday twin. He's not slaying.
No.
He's not. Wow. Guys, he literally looks like... In this picture that I'm looking at him, he looks like he's party in the front.
Oh.
Business in the front, party in the back. I'm sorry. But he looks like he gives no fuck. Like, not even like the smallest bit of fuck.
He thinks he's a doctor.
Bro, what the fuck? No. I'm gonna repute him from being
rebuke.
Rebuke. ¿Cómo se dice?
Rebuke?
Yeah.
I rebuke. I don't know.
I don't know. But anyway, I don't want him to be my birthday twin.
Okay. So, I mean, the case to me, after everything.
He had Jerry curl.
Yeah, there was one of the...
I just imagine him doing like this. Get your Jerry curl juice off of me.
One of the patient's family members said that his hair looked like a bad perm gone wrong. Like a perm gone wrong, I'm sorry.
Dude, with the glasses of the 90s. I think he did get a perm because before in some other pictures no lo tenía curly y luego lo tenía. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to laugh, but it's just that
we can't laugh. He's a murderer.
But I'm just saying because it reminds me of the fucking movie The Friday, bro. Cuando le dice,
yeah.
Damn, Pinky, and he has cherry curl juice. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The medical expert's testimony played a big part in this case, as it should, because they needed to break down everything to the jury where they could digest it properly and understand what they were being told that he did in medical terms. You know, that's fucking hard.
We're talking about like normal people off the streets.
Yeah.
You know, que vienen, you're like chilling, you know, barriendo and shit. And next thing you know, you're trying to commit
understand,
somebody.
You know, like, I mean, obviously there were way, way more statistics. They broken down by percentages y toda la madre and all this other stuff.
You imagine trying to do that for 100 cases?
I mean, they had to do it first. Yeah. I mean, so to me, the prosecution, the case that they had built up against Orville was like immaculate. Like there was no way, in my opinion. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The evidence was overwhelming. And yes, the defense had all the negligent shit that VCH was doing.
So it just kind of made it easier for him.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. It's like, okay, yes,
it was a good defense.
They were negligent, but I feel like it made it easier for him. Like, oh, they're being motherfuckers, so let me just kill these. You know, nobody's going to think that it was me.
Right.
I feel like that's how I feel like he saw it. Yeah. Not that I'm a murderer.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking.
But, you know, the hospital, like I said, all that shit that the ISDH had found, it was pretty damning against the hospital. And you could see, también, that side of where, like, maybe the hospital is making him seem like he's to get out of what. Yeah. You know, to get out of it. They're like, he did it, you know?
I can completely
understand where that would be coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Orville was found guilty on 6 murder charges out of the 7.
Why? What happened to the 7th one?
There was a hung jury on the 7th case of the victim because the time it took him to pass from when he was injected compared to the other 6, you know? Just because it took him a little bit longer.
I'm sorry, but some of us are strong. Like I'm sorry.
Bodies handle things differently.
I took my elderberry, okay?
So Orville was sentenced to 360 years in prison.
I would have given him 361.5 just to fuck with him.
And he died of heart failure.
Of course he did. Of course he fucking did it, Estela, because he's the fucking popcorn. Well, he died of heart. He died just like everybody else.
Like the way that he did it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He died on September 24th, 2017 at Indiana State Prison. Now, VCH was served with a wrongful death lawsuit by families of 80 patients, and they were settled and paid by the state patients fund. Mm-hmm. They were also fined $80,000 by the Department of Health, which it didn't seem like a lot.
$80,000 is not a lot, especially back then.
What, the 1990s?
Yeah, how much is it? I mean, it's $80,000. No?
It's not for all the fucking shit that they did? No, I thought it was a little bit.
I'm going to need y'all to give me millions, bitch.
And the hospital then changed their name to Central Community Hospital. And I think now it's like owned privately or something like that. But
there's a lot of hospitals that go through like renaming, and they never make it again. I mean, of course, I wouldn't fucking take my person there.
Now, the names of the 7 victims, I'm going to name them and what happened.
Oh.
Obviously, there were way, way more. I mean, they believe that he killed over 100 fucking people.
But my fucking thing is like, why, bitch? Like, what did you get out of that? I don't get it.
He's just a sick individual.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, okay, what did you get out? You felt like you were a doctor, so let me go give him this medication.
But
and
why?
Then,
why? Were you just maybe he was like, he had a stick up his ass about something and he took it out on other people? I don't know. But remember, Andy estaba diciendo that he hated old people.
Okay, yes, and I get that.
But like,
I get, okay, you hate old people.
And then he said that he would say all that shit, But then he would find it weird that he worked with old people. Like he purposely, worked with old people.
Yeah. Okay. So my question is this. We've done this almost over a little bit. I mean, we've been talking about true crime for a long time, right?
Yeah.
But my deal is we've been doing this in particular for almost a year. So my question is, everybody that does something, they have to feel something. Like it has to give them an emotion of what this is what I've caught up from everything we've done. So ¿qué sentía, güey? Like
it would give him pleasure.
Would it give him pleasure? Like some of them would be sexual, some of them would be like different ways. So you're telling me that just seeing this poor person,
and he never talked about the case after he was convicted and sentenced. Never. Hardly.
Bro, it just kills me the fact that, please don't kill me, but I'm just saying, like, it's just crazy to me what did you get out of that? Like, ¿qué te hizo sentir? Like, what? I don't understand why. You see,
maybe it's like a rush, like a high, in the fact that he did it for over 22 months and nothing caught on until, I mean, dude, and it's kind of fucked up now, but the nurses, they would like make bets of who's going to die or how many patients were going to die that day.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
That's like making fun of people when they're sick.
But they didn't know that he was doing it, but still, I don't know. Dude, but anyway.
I'm sorry that I took you off track here, but it's just mind-blowing to me. And I'm pretty sure somebody out there, one of our listeners, can agree with me. It's like, I just don't understand what the fuck was his thought process? You see what I'm saying?
We're never gonna know. If he
that's fine. I don't want, like, I'm just saying, like, you're a fucking psychopath. That's what you are, a fucking psycho. To where, like, his boyfriend or ex-boyfriend was like, he hated the people that were older, and he wanted to gas them. Like, what kind of fucking...
Who says that?
Who says that?
And then, dude, like you said, he did it in front of family members. Like, he gave no fucking fucks.
I think that was probably what would give him a rush. Like, maybe. I'm doing this. I think I'm a doctor.
Like, look, bitch, fuck you.
Oh my gosh.
So, like I said, we're gonna name the 7
this
patients.
Hurts my fucking heart.
So
dude.
Mary Ann Alderson was 69 when she went into VCH on November 5th of 1994. She went in for chest pains.
Okay.
She was monitored for a couple of days and had gotten well enough to be released. And she died on November 7th, the day that she was going to be released.
Motherfucker. He knew that she was going to be released. He knew it.
Dorothea Hickson was 80 when she was taken into VCH by her 2 daughters on April 23rd, 1994 for a regular lung checkup. I think they had to like drain her lungs or something like that. It was a condition that she had, but it was like regular. They would do that often.
Well, yeah, because it was a procedure that they would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they took her in around 1 p.m. She had actually been a nurse at VCH, so people knew her there and stuff like that. So... her doctor stated that she was stable and no immediate danger. She died that same day, a little after 5 p.m.
Wow.
Cecil Smith was 74 and was taken to the hospital on Easter Sunday, April 2nd, 1994, because he wasn't feeling well. So su hijo told him, "Hey, Dad, let's go I'll take you to the hospital." And when they took him to the hospital, he had pneumonia, but he was going to be released the next day on April 3rd, and he died on April 3rd. Luella Hopkins was 89 and was admitted to the hospital on December 24th of 1993 for pneumonia-related problems. Mm-hmm. After the pneumonia had cleared up and she had gained some weight, she was going to be discharged, but she died on January 8th, 1994.
Wow.
Margaret Hornick was 79 and admitted to VCH on November 24th, 1994 after she fell and fractured her hip. She had surgery and was placed in the ICU right after the surgery. She died 9 minutes later.
Literally, like you could have
on November 25th.
They probably just put her in there for observation. Yeah. It wasn't like they were like she needed to
stay there. She was in critical condition.
Yeah. Wow.
And
9 minutes.
9 minutes after she made it to the ICU. Freddie Wilson was 56.
Dude, like you're telling me these numbers, and I understand that
they're older, but they were fine.
Like these people could have lived a lot longer.
Yeah.
Like I've seen patients that are 93, 94, sometimes even 98, 100. And you're telling me that these people, like that lady that was 67, 8, even 80, dude, they could have still had a good life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, who are you to make that decision?
Yeah.
Like,
who the fuck do you think you are?
Freddie Wilson was 56 and went to VCH on February 15th of 1995 since he wasn't feeling well. He had pneumonia también, but it was fine. He had no chest pains. He wasn't wheezing. He wasn't gasping for air or anything like that. He died the next day on February 16th.
Literally, like he would take them out as soon as they would go in there.
Derek Maxwell was 64 and was taken to VCH for diabetes complications.
My dad is 65.
Yeah.
So like...
And your dad's fine. Like, he's like fine, you know? Like,
imagine him just going because, like, what the hell?
He needed to be in the ICU to receive some blood plasma transfers and be under observation for at least 24 hours. He was going to be fine.
That's what I'm saying. Like, these people were not in there because they were like moribundos and shit. Like, they were in there for just observation.
His wife was with him when Orville injected him.
Fuck her. Look, I got goosebumps too.
And he died. He died. He said that his back went stiff, like, and he was gasping for air, and then Orville was right there.
The popcorn didn't fucking do shit.
Yeah, and then he died. So yeah, that's the case of Orville Lynn Majors, Indiana's angel of death.
I wouldn't call him an angel of nothing. He's
just death.
He's death. He's trash. Pinche cucaracha. Písala. But anyway, thank you so much for bringing that to us, sister. It was very emotional, this one, because
now I'm scared to go to the hospital. Not that I go now, but I'd be like, don't go. No vayas.
No, Estela, we're not going to go through the hospital problems that we have in our family. So let's not go there.
True. Some people want to go a little bit too much.
Yeah, a little bit too much. So thank you so much for bringing that to us once again, sister. We appreciate
welcome.
You. I wanted to give thanks to everybody that's, been following us. I see we have a little bit more followers. Thank you so much to everyone. I hope that you are enjoying our podcast. Let us know what you think.
Rate us, please.
And
you can listen to our podcast anywhere that you get podcasts. I know we usually link Spotify because Spotify is just so easy.
No, like, not only that, but that's what I have.
That's what I have. No, I have Apple too.
I have Apple, but what I'm saying is
Apple be giving problems. And I'm like, oh my God, Spotify. But yeah, anyway, like I said, you can find us anywhere. Apple, Spotify, the Amazon, iHeart, all that stuff.
All of them.
All that stuff.
So if you would like to follow us,
you can follow us on Instagram at
Cafecito and Crime Pod,
or you can send us an email to
cafecitoandcrimepod@gmail.com.
Okay,
so
thank you.
If y'all have any concerns, if y'all have any, concerns. If y'all have any, future endeavors, let us know. Or if you want to tell us what to talk about next. All right, thank you.
Bye.